Jude sat at his kitchen table, staring at a collection of overdue notices, credit card bills, final warnings. Everything in his life had slowly turned red. Red numbers, red deadlines, red opportunities missed. He was caught in a specific psychological trap, shiny object syndrome. It's the tendency to abandon a current path the exact second a new, seemingly easier interest appears on the horizon. His career history was a frantic blur. He'd been a freelance copywriter, a karate instructor, and a website editor. He learned a little Japanese, quit to start a podcast, and when that attracted actual advertisers, he dropped it to buy expensive art supplies and become a painter. His life resembled a man digging hundreds of wells, working himself to exhaustion, yet dying of thirst because he never dug a single one deeper than 10 feet. Sitting in the middle of all this chaotic energy was the only constant Jude had kept for 2 years. A large orange rescue cat named Bounce, who spent his days washing his paws with complete concentration, entirely ignored by his owner. A frantic obsession with finding the next big thing inherently blinds us. We spend so much energy looking outward that we lose the ability to see the value of the assets already sitting right in front of us. Hungry and desperate, Jude looked at his bank notices, and then he looked at the cat. In his unique reasoning, he appraised Bounce as a completely useless, zero-value asset. The cat didn't pay rent, didn't catch mice, and contributed nothing. So he put Bounce in a carrier, marched up to the top floor of a regional bank, and offered the animal to a menacing executive named Graves. And Graves, after staring the cat down, actually accepted the collateral. He gave Jude a 3-month loan extension. Jude walked out of that bank feeling incredibly light. He thought he had pulled off a brilliant maneuver, entirely unaware of the massive miscalculation he had just made. This chart perfectly illustrates the core economic flaw of human distraction. When we feel pressured, we eagerly trade away enormous, stable, long-term potential for a tiny fraction of temporary relief. 3 weeks later, the story hit the international news. The regional bank was in possession of a cat capable of human speech, not mimicry, real fluent conversation. Bounce could even communicate with other cats, acting as an intermediary between species. Look at this line graph of the bank's market value. With the world fighting for access, their value exploded, surging straight through the ceiling. But look at this flat line at the bottom. That represents Jude, realizing he ignored a miracle for 2 years. Failing to properly audit and engage with our own resources has a steep cost. It guarantees we will eventually surrender their immense value to someone else who actually pays attention. Jude visited the bank's luxurious top floor. He expected a cinematic confrontation. He braced himself for a heartfelt apology, a devastating speech from the cat, or some grand moment of forgiveness. Instead, he found Bounce sitting on a window ledge. Jude said hello. The cat offered absolutely nothing. No anger, no judgment, no forgiveness. Just a silent gaze. Jude started rambling, asking if the cat hated him. He felt himself shrinking beneath that stare. He realized Bounce was merely observing him, watching a man who built an identity around abandoning everything he touched. The ultimate catalyst for personal change rarely comes from external judgment or dramatic arguments. It usually arrives in the form of a devastating silence that forces us to finally observe our own flaws. Months passed. The loan extension expired. Jude found himself back in his apartment, drifting among 20 different unfinished business plans spread across his desk. He looked at the half-read books and the unused gadgets. For years, Jude had been searching for a new opportunity, while stepping over the ones he already owned. The cat hadn't left a hole in his life. He had simply become the latest project Jude had placed on a shelf and forgotten. He opened his laptop to his old publication. He wrote the first day, then the second. He kept writing through the following weeks, even after the initial excitement faded and the work became quiet and repetitive. For the first time, when the urge to quit arrived, he ignored it. True forward momentum doesn't come from finding a flawless new idea. It comes from the discipline to stop quitting an existing one. A year later, Jude's debts were mostly gone. By steadily chipping away day after day, his old publication had grown. It was slow and it was painful, but it was real progress. One afternoon, an anonymous envelope arrived. Inside was a photo of Bounce sitting in the bank. On the back, written in neat black ink, was a simple, uncredited message. You were never poor, only distracted. True success is rarely found in the desperate, chaotic hunt for the next big opportunity. More often than not, it is found by recognizing and finally committing to the priceless potential already sitting quietly in the room.